Good afternoon, everyone. I am actually really excited to be here. I think I attended the first Sterling Women many years ago. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for people to meet and get to know one another. So I was going to actually ask you to share something about yourself, but you've already done that. So you've met some amazing people at your table, and I want you to remember that. I have been the executive director for the Loudoun Education Foundation for about 13 years. And before I became the executive director of LEF, I taught second grade in Loudoun County Public Schools and a kinder prep class in Princeton, New Jersey. I'm actually fortunate enough to be sitting next to the mom of two girls that I taught math to at Potomac Elementary School. And they're doing amazing, and they're going into accounting. And before I became a teacher, I was a publicist in New York City and worked with mostly hardcover authors, and I worked at several publishing houses. So raise your hand if you have a child or children in Loudoun County Public School. Okay, raise your hand if you know a teacher in Loudoun County Public School. Okay, excellent, it's almost the whole room. So the Loudoun Education Foundation, also known as LEF, was created in 1991 to support the teachers and students in Loudoun County Public Schools. It's an independent 501c3. The mission is to engage business and community partners, like the people in this room, to fund critical and exceptional programs that foster the academic success and well-being of students and teachers in Loudoun County Public Schools. And we do that through a variety of programs that I am not going to talk about. But you can check them out on page 17 in this book called The Report Card that is in your gift bag. Or you can check us out at www.loudouneducationfoundation.org. It's our new LEF website. So what I want to talk about with you today is how LEF went from a foundation giving about a whopping $400 in support its first year to a foundation that just gave a little over $2 million in support last school year. Thank you, yes. A foundation that is currently in a quiet phase of a $15 million major gift campaign and has raised over $6.5 million in about 2 years. I want to share with you 3 strategies that I think help make this happen, other than my amazing coworkers who are sitting at that table. Raise your hands, other than their talent. So the first strategy I learned from a great feminist literary work, and it's one of my favorite books. Any ideas in the room? Great feminist literary work? Okay. The Paper Bag Princess. And this is a story about a princess named Elizabeth who is engaged to a prince named Ronald. And unfortunately, a dragon comes and burns off Elizabeth's clothes and carries Ronald away. Fortunately, Princess Elizabeth is able to find a paper bag dress, so she's not arrested for indecent exposure, and she decides to go after Prince Ronald and save him. She proceeds to go to the dragon's cave, where she comes up with a plan, and she gets the dragon to breathe fire 15 times until the dragon no longer has fire to breathe. And then she gets this dragon to fly around the world in 10 seconds until the dragon is exhausted. And then she waits for the dragon to fall asleep because he's so exhausted. And she goes in to save her prince, who proceeds to insult her. And she proceeds to say bye and goes off on her way in her paper bag dress and into the sunset very happy. It's just a fun book to read. But what did we learn from this book? Princess Elizabeth set a goal of rescuing Prince Ronald and created a plan on how to achieve her goal. And in executing her plan, she discovers her own self-worth. I'm a firm believer in setting goals, creating plans, and recognizing your own self-worth. I encourage all of you to set one goal today that you want to achieve and a plan on how you are going to reach that goal. And most importantly, you're intelligent, capable women and men who can achieve any goal that you set for yourself. So that was the first strategy, setting goals, creating a plan. So I have a little bit of a New York accent. You might hear it, and as Christina shared with you, I grew up in Queens, New York. If you ever watched the show, yes, oh, thank you. I was gonna say, if you ever watched the show The Nanny, she's from Queens, New York. And I'm one of 5 girls born to George and Eileen Meyer. We would joke that our house was the Amazon kingdom because there was my mom, there was us girls, I had a great aunt that lived upstairs, and next door was my grandmother and my mother's sisters. And even the dog was a female, so a lot of girl power in that household. Both my parents were very focused on their children receiving a good education. My mom, Eileen, was born with an eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. You see, her retinas were deteriorating. So even though she could see at birth, she was going blind and would be legally blind by her 20s. My mom made it all the way to college. She went to NYU on a scholarship, but she could no longer read with a magnifying glass and was pregnant with her first child, so she did not graduate. My father did not graduate high school. He was a high school dropout, and he would often share with me, if I didn't meet your mother, I would probably be in jail. He would tell me that he was not good at school, that teachers thought he was stupid. Later in life, I learned he struggled with reading and writing. You see, the letters on the page would jump and move around. My dad worked 2 to 3 jobs supporting us. So you could understand why education was very important to them. And they were determined that all of us were going to graduate college, and we did. One of my first memories of learning took place at home. When I was around 4, my mom would sit on the dining room floor with my sisters and me, and she had a really big blackboard. You have a blackboard on your table. I'm not sure if like the younger people in the room remember blackboards, but they looked like something like that, but she had a big one. And she would sit on the floor with that blackboard, and she would write with chalk the letters of the alphabet, and she was teaching us the letters. For my older sisters, she would do the letters, but she would spell out a word because she was teaching them how to read and how to spell. So it was painstaking watching my mom make these letters. And it was also beautiful because she would make a big deal about forming the letters. When I entered first grade, I was asked to write a letter of the alphabet on the blackboard. I was incredibly excited. I can do this. My mom did it all the time. So I went up in front of the class and I wrote a very big and perfect letter, just like my mother would do at home. And I was super proud, and I turned to the class and proceeded to get in trouble by the teacher. The teacher thought I was being sassy and disrespectful for writing the letter so big on the blackboard, and then the kids started to laugh. I tried to explain to her several times that no, this is how my mom writes that at home. This has to be right. This is how my mom does it at home. She did not want to listen. She would not listen to me. The more I tried to explain to her, the more in trouble I actually got. So what do you think happened? I hated first grade. I did not do well, and I did not want to go to school. This experience became one of my biggest lessons in life that has helped me in every single job. I swear to God, it has helped me in every single job. It is extremely important to be a good listener. Again, it is extremely important to be a good listener. Your clients or donors must know that you are listening to them. Your employees and coworkers must know that you are listening to them. In my case, my board of trustees must know that I'm listening to them, because when you really listen to people, when you really listen to them, you are saying, I value what you have to say, I value you, you are important to me. And when people feel valued and they are important to you and they want to work with you, they want to work for you, they want to vote for you, they want to support you. One of the reasons why the foundation is achieving success is because we really listen to what is important to our donors. And we find educational programs or events that they can invest in that is meaningful to them. In the past, I used to go to a donor and I would say, these are our programs, can you please support one of these programs? I wasn't listening to them. Now when I go to a donor, I say, tell me about yourself. What are you interested in? What are you passionate about? And then if they say something that we don't have a program with, let's talk about how we can create that program. A whole different mindset. So I've shared 2 strategies that have helped grow the LEF. First, set goals and make a plan to achieve the goals, like Princess Elizabeth. 2, be a good listener. And I've saved my most important strategy for last. And if I could only share one strategy, it would be this one. Be a relationship builder. Focus on building relationships rather than networking. Networking is one and done. How many times have you gone to an event, introduced yourself, talked, gathered business cards, and after the event, never reached out to the people you met? I think we've all done it. Raise your hand if you've done that. I know I have. Where does that leave us, but with a stack of business cards sitting on our desk? Relationship builders make connections with people, and true connections must be built over time. Connections are created through shared experiences. Get out into the community and do things with your clients, in my case donors, and your staff. Make sure you're not only sharing about work, but about yourself, your interests, and your family. And most importantly, be a good listener so that you will make connections and find things that you have in common. I often will send donors notes or emails if I see them mentioned in the newspaper, or if I hear that their children have reached an important milestone, or if they're sick. I will reach out with information about things they are passionate about or important to them. Make FaceTime, and I don't mean FaceTime on the phone, make FaceTime a priority. Don't rely on social media to grow your relationships. Spend time in person. If you have young children and you don't want to do the nighttime events, I get that, I was there once. Double up on breakfasts, lunches, afternoon coffee or tea. I used to do a strategy of meet for breakfast and then immediately meet for coffee, then possibly meet for lunch. It can work. This goes for prospective employees for your company. So I'm going to embarrass one of mine. Samantha Courtney, please stand up. So Samantha Courtney is the Director of Development for LEF. When I met her, I knew immediately I wanted her to be part of the Loudoun Education Foundation, and I courted her for over a year. I would meet with her for coffee, I would talk about families, our husbands, I would share our philosophies on philanthropy. I built a relationship. And fortunately, she joined the foundation over a year ago and has been a great asset for the foundation and has just been named one of Loudoun's 40 Under 40. So we're all here enjoying this amazing Sterling Women Luncheon, and this luncheon is not about networking. It's about relationship building. You have just met interesting people at your table. You shared a little bit about yourself. They've shared with you. So my challenge to you, and I'm going to try to make this really doable, my challenge to you is to reach out to at least 2 people at your table. If you're an A+ student, you'll reach out to everyone. But at least 2 people at your table by next week, and set a time to meet with them in person. And try to do it this month. And over the course of the next 2 weeks, send them something that is related to something they just shared with you today. Build a relationship. So now you know my 3 strategies: set goals and make a plan to achieve the goals, be a good listener, and be a relationship builder. Those are the 3 strategies that really built the foundation. Thank you very much for your kindness, and thank you for letting me share.